Hey guys, welcome back to another Collingwood review on the channel, and can't believe it still. Collingwood have beaten GWS by 1 point and an absolute classic of a prelim final and have advanced into the 2023 AFL Grand Final. I still can't believe it, still lost for words. It's absolutely humongous, it's the best thing ever. It's just so good. The scenes are absolutely ridiculous, and the celebrations have been going long into the night, that's for sure. Still can't believe we're into the grand final. So excited, so pumped. I can't wait for today's game. Can't wait to see who we're going to be versing in this year's grand final. And I still can't believe we've actually knocked off the Giants in a bit of a revenge story from the 2019 prelim, that's for sure. Obviously, I want to start off by saying credit to the GWS Giants. They have been fantastic all year. Absolutely superb side. Adam Kingsley has done a fantastic job with that team. The way they've built their Orange Tsunami type game plan, and how every single player trusts the coach, and just the amazing relationship he has with his players. Just a massive credit to the Giants. They absolutely deserved to be in the grand final and win it. And in my opinion, this prelim was definitely going to shape whoever wins the grand final, in my opinion. And yeah, thankfully we got the job done, and I reckon we might start as favourites, maybe slide favourites in the grand final, hopefully. So yeah, it was absolutely superb. It was so great to just see all of our fans just rock out and fill the G for a massive prelim final. All our fans got there. We had like a good 95,000 at the game last night. It was absolutely superb, and I felt like we definitely deserved this. You know, we've had a massive year all year. Probably been the first ranked side for a majority of the year. We've had, some off patches here and there, but we definitely deserved this, and it was a heartbreaking game if you're a GWS fan, and definitely a heart-stopping game, and it was a fantastic quality game of football, one that we've been really wanting to see for quite a long time in the finals. And what a game it was by Collingwood. And well, yeah, it was absolutely superb. Kicking the first 2 goals of the prelim final was absolutely humongous. I mean, we got off to such a great start and all, kicking the first 2 goals. Everyone thought, here we go. The moment Dan McStay and Jack Crisp, those 2 goals that were nailed in first, just the celebrations just kicked in.
For him, didn't want to use him. Inside 50 now, the long one. McStay! Kicking multiple goals regularly. Listen to this. First blood, Magpies. Clear goal for Collingwood. This time Briggs with a win. Crisp with a quick shot. Collingwood get their second.
And then GWS just dominated for the majority of the, basically the rest of the first half, really. I mean, apart from the first quarter, when we missed some chances, Dan McStay missed a pretty easy one in front of goal, one that he really should be kicking. It was a bit unfortunate. And, we started off 14-3 in the first quarter, quite low scoring. Wasn't really expecting it to be so low scoring. And then the second quarter was just an avalanche of GWS, and they've done that all final series, so credit to them. They just piled on the goals, and yeah, we kept on missing. Brody Mindcheck missed a couple early. Nick Dacos missed an absolute sitter before half time, but we didn't look so good at half time. We just played a little bit too safe in the second quarter. Not taking the game on, not playing anything, too dynamic. Our game style wasn't quite working. And GWS were just first to the football for majority of the midfield battles in the second quarter. And then when Toby Green kicked the first goal of the third quarter, I think most Collingwood fans thought, oh dear, is this deja vu from the 2019 prelim? But then we brought our fight back. Dan McStay, Bobby Hill, players that weren't even playing for us last year were absolutely superb. And when Bo McCreary kicked that goal to put us in front. That was absolutely ridiculous. It was a fantastic goal, and the scenes were absolutely crazy as well. And I think most people would have enjoyed that if you're a Collingwood fan. And
Pendlebury on his left boot, slams it long. McStay couldn't get hands on it. McCreary around the corner. Collingwood are in front. And Pendlebury put it to the advantage of McStay, who's had a big quarter, just competed. McCreary does his job. Listen to the sound.
Mason Cox kicking the first goal and our only goal in the last quarter as well. There was definitely a lot of celebrations in that one as well. And then just to hold on in the last 10 minutes. I mean, Hogan did kick a goal in the last 10 minutes, and he wasn't exactly amazing, Hogan, but I still feel like he probably got the better of Darcy Moore for majority of the time. But yeah, just to hold on in the last 10 minutes. Our pressure was good for the whole game. Yeah, especially in the first quarter, GWS were just panicking and they just did not know what to do, and it was really, really good. Our clearance work was really, really impressive, especially in that first quarter. Jordan Ngoe was best player on ground and was absolutely fantastic, and had 34 touches. Just doing, things that you would normally expect from him. He had 13 clearances for the game. He was absolutely superb. Tom Mitchell as well. He was really good in the middle. Pendlebury, he started really, really well. Jack Crisp had his moments, which was really good to see. And then you got the usuals that were good. Jeremy Howe, Isaac Quainer, they were superb in defence. Same with Braden Maynard, who had a big couple of weeks, and it was really good to see the Collingwood Army just chant out his name whenever he got the football. It was really, really good. In the first half, our worst player was arguably Patrick Lipinski. He was just doing nothing for us. He looked so shaky, so nervous, and you can tell that someone absolutely gave him a spray at half-time because he came out like a changed man. His pressure was fantastic. While he didn't necessarily have the same impact he normally would in a normal game, for a final he was still good enough, and he'll probably hold his spot, but it was looking bad for him in the first half, that's just saying. Even when Jack Ginnivan came on, yeah, he didn't kick a goal. He kicked a behind. Well, he had 7 touches in the last quarter, and he was involved in the very first chain of the first part of the fourth quarter. And just the Collingwood Army just chanting out his name and just cheering whenever he got the ball. It was just absolutely fantastic, and he definitely should be in our grand final squad. And how good would it be to see Ginnivan wearing a premiership medal in just his 3rd season at the club? And, we had a few players that got a little bit injury scared. Darcy Moore was playing injured in the second half. His foot blew up like a balloon, and yeah, it did look very, very swollen, but he'll be all right. He played out the game. He'll play through the grand final like that if he has to, and he'll be all right for the grand final. Obviously, Taylor Adams won't be most likely playing in the grand final, which is absolutely devastating if we do win without him. It's just going to be so sad, and yeah, we really, really want him to become part of this, part of this dynasty if we can win that, of course. Now, Dan McStay, bit unfortunate for him as well because he was having a fantastic game. He's probably done an MCL. We're going to have scans on that, I think, on Monday or even Sunday. Find out pretty early if he's going to be playing or not. It will be devastating if he can't either, and it'll be difficult to find a replacement. And a possible replacement could be Jeremy Howe, throwing him forward, though he's been really good in defence recently. Maybe we have to throw him forward, and the problem is I think he's got a bit of a calf complaint, and hopefully it's nothing too serious. He should be alright though. We're hoping. Now, there's 2 players in particular I want to speak about. I've saved them up, and they're the 2 players I really want to speak about. One of them is, of course, Nick Dacos. Coming back from a pretty serious knee injury, he described it as his knee being smashed to smithereens, and I don't think too many people were expecting for him to have such a good impact. And in the first half, we were just managing him. He didn't get that much gameplay. He was still alright, having a decent impact. He did miss though, and In the second half, we put him in like half back just to change things up, because after that Toby Green goal, things definitely weren't looking good for us, and we had to change something. We put him on the half back flank. He got 28 disposals for the game, 6 clearances, 15 kicks, 4 tackles and a behind, one that he really should have kicked. But yeah, still a pretty impressive game from him, and I don't think that too much people were expecting him to have a massive impact back from his knee injury. I mean, obviously some people would have been like, he's got to have an instant impact in that midfield. But we didn't exactly use him in the midfield for the whole game. And in my opinion, I know De Goey was best on, but not by a mile, in my opinion. Everyone's saying, De Goey was best on by a mile, but there was one player that was absolutely superb and has had the most underrated last 2 seasons that you can ever have. And that's Steele Sidebottom. What a game he had. He was absolutely phenomenal. He had 4 clearances in the first 10 minutes. He was ridiculous. Had 7 for the game, 24 touches, 6 marks, 4 tackles. Absolutely superb. Kicked it behind. No, he didn't kick it behind. I thought he did, but he didn't. He saved Toby Green's late shot at goal in the last 3 minutes. No one's really speaking about it, but if that went in, we wouldn't be in this situation right now. So credit to him. He was lost for words after the game as well, just soaking it all in. He couldn't believe it, and he's had the most underrated 2 seasons ever, and it's always him. He's just such a clutch player. We know Jordan De Goey was so clutch for us all night, but Steele Sidebottom has been so clutch for us all year, and unfortunately did get injured in his 300th game. But you look at that, a couple of weeks beforehand, he kicked the match-winning point against Adelaide that no one really talks about. And he's always there. He's always, running back to defence or running forward for a goal. The only thing that he hasn't really done in the last couple of years is kick goals, but he's done everything else, and has been absolutely superb for us. Such an underrated player. And when we lose him, when he retires, it is going to change the football club, both on and off the field. You're going to see a massive difference once Steele Sidebottom goes, and he definitely deserves this premiership, and we'll definitely be playing for him, that's for sure. All of our players deserve premierships. We dominated the ruck as well. Kieran Briggs playing with one shoulder, really. Had a busted shoulder for the whole game, and you could tell Mason Cox was superb in the ruck, and Darcy Cameron even had his moments as well. And they both obviously got to play in the ruck for us next week in the grand final, and should be part of the grand final side. Obviously, Dan McStay's probably going to miss. We've got to find a replacement for him. Craig McRae's not going to really reveal anything yet. He's still going to, soak in the win, soak in the fact that we're actually going into a grand final, and it was absolutely superb. Just the moment when the final siren went as well, it was just the best thing ever. The emotions, the feeling, it was just absolutely fantastic, and really, really felt for GWS, just seeing all their players just crying in the rooms after the game, and Toby Green just absolutely, barely even getting through his interview with Abby Holmes, and then just absolutely bursting in his mother's arms. It was the saddest thing you've ever seen, and even if you are a Toby Green hater, you got to admit that was pretty sad. And I actually love Toby Green. I'm not a hater of him. He's such a fantastic footballer, and it was such a sad moment. Really, really felt for the Giants, because at the same time, obviously your team's going on a massive streak, and now they're into the grand final. The feeling is great, but then it's a bittersweet moment. Lots of Collingwood fans would be like, oh, this is revenge, but it's just bittersweet because GWS have such a fantastic story, playing it for Daniel Lloyd and Phil Davis, and just seeing them walk off the ground for the last time in their careers in a prelim final when they both had their heads down, and it's just not a good look, and it was just such a bad moment. And I just want to say to GWS and their fans, we were there last year. We lost by a point in a prelim final. We know what it was like. But just the resilience that we showed and the fight that we've also shown this year to respond from then has been fantastic. And now look, Like, I don't know if lots of people have figured this out yet, but GWS are the us from last year. They play the similar way. They've got players that just aren't recognised for their talent, and you got special players hidden in there like the Brent Daniels, the Callum Browns, the Jack Buckleys that no one speaks about, even the Connor Iden. In my opinion, he was probably best of field for GWS. His defensive effort was just ridiculous back there. All 4 players that no one speaks about that have had superb seasons, and we've had 4 hidden players definitely or more shown up this year that no one's really speaking about. You know, the Oleg Markov types that we've turned into fantastic players, and just players that no one would really expect to know of, but have just turned into phenomenal stars of this team. And I wouldn't be surprised if GWS do a dynasty soon. Like, they've got such a great young list. I guess the only thing that they don't have that we had this year is access to players. Craig McRae went full hard and got players that he recognised that were missing from last year. You know, Tom Mitchell, he was huge. Dan McStay was huge. Bobby Hill was huge. Oleg Markov had a massive tackle in the third quarter early on that changed the game and set up a goal. He saved a goal and set up a goal. Now, that's obviously won his spot in the side for next week's grand final. And all 4 players have played superbly in these final series so far. Unfortunately, GWS, you know, just because they're a new club and they don't have that much fans, no one really wants to go there and play with them. And it's stupid because I don't know why all these players in this trade period don't want to go there, but, you know, they're targeting a couple. I think Teakle, they're after Elliot Himmelberg and Hugo Ralph-Smith. They all seem like fringy players, but I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Kingsley puts them in and just turns them into phenomenal superstars. And he's just such a great coach, and credit to GWS. They've had a fantastic year. But of course, the celebrations were definitely there for us. Just the moment, you know, Craig McRae getting behind all the boys on the bench. You know, as Oleg Markov just wrapped his arms around him as soon as the soon as the final siren went. You know, the realisation of going into a grand final. Jordan Nagari ran onto the field. He got stuck on the bench for the final 10 minutes of the game, which was quite, you know, I guess people were saying, oh, if we lose this, then, you know, that could be, you know, the blame. And, you know, it certainly wasn't an ideal situation, but we still were able to hold on. You know, we practiced these moments. We weren't going to let the biggest one of the year slip. And, you know, we were absolutely superb all game. And, yeah, we definitely deserve this, boys. So sync it up. You deserve it. We're heading into a grand final. It's absolutely humongous. Just the scenes, the celebrations, the fans, everything. Just turn out. Just do everything you can to try and will and support this team over the line in the grand final. And the celebration when Bobby Hill as well took that mark with 15 seconds to go. Just the realisation that, you know, we've won the flag, and just the scenes were absolutely ridiculous, and all the boys just got around each other celebrating after the game. Huge celebrations, obviously, and obviously Craig McRae, I mean, happy birthday, of course, 50th birthday, 50th game as coach. The fact that he's won 42 of his first 50 games as coach is a phenomenal record. So good. Absolutely ridiculous. Just the scenes was absolutely ridiculous. And also happy birthday to Maynard, who had his birthday during the week. He's had a really big couple weeks. And of course, Taylor Adams had his birthday a couple days ago. And, you know, the heartbreak that he couldn't be, you know, playing in this prelim, or the fact that he might be out for the grand final, and the fact that we can't get a premiership medal around his neck, because he deserves it. He is a gun. He's so incredibly underrated to what we do. He's been highly criticised this year for his kicking, for his just sitting there and taking a forward flank role, and people saying, oh, is Craig McRae like just playing him over Ginnivan, and like just because, you know, he wants him to win the premiership more. He's got nothing to do with that. He's just such an underrated player for us, and yeah, he definitely deserves to be in this grand final side of ours. And I mean, if he is available, I don't even know how the hell we're going to find room for him, because all of our players in our side right now deserve it, including John Noble, who's out of the team. Obviously, with Dan McStay out as well, we might have to find a replacement, or we just throw Jeremy Howe forward and put John Noble in defence. We'll have to do something like that. And believe me, John Noble will play like for his life if he gets in. And he'll be so happy as well. Like, they just interviewed him after the game, and he was really, really happy. He was just as happy as everyone else on the field, even though he wasn't playing the game, which is really, really good to see. Also, in the final sign, when you just got to show credit to the Nick Dacosses and the Isaac Quainers and a few of them that just went over to Toby Green straight away, and all the other Giants players, and just say, just show their empathy for them, because we know exactly what it feels to lose by a point in a prelim final, being an inch out from a grand final. It happened to us last year. It's happened to us before. And we all went straight over to them and just showed respect for them, which was absolutely fantastic. And, such a fantastic team, the Giants. And unfortunately, their story ends here. And ours presses on to another week, another big week in the grand final. I've got massive videos coming out all week long about Collingwood, so hopefully we can get the job done, either against Brisbane or Carlton. We don't know yet. We'll find out today, and hopefully, fingers crossed that we can get the job done. Go the Pies!